Good morning. So talking about the issues created by ICT, we have been taking so many issues, right? So up to now we finished legal issue, ethical issue, physical and logical issues, and we also completed environmental related issues. At last, we completed social issues, right? And in the latter part of the last class, we started to discuss health issues, right? So before I start the health issues, let me show two questions, right? Let's take two questions for discussing. After that, we can start the today's lesson, right? So have a look at these two questions. Right, okay. Right, there are two questions displayed on your screen. So have a look at the first one. Encryption can be used. I already explained about encryption, not deeply, but I gave a brief introduction for encryption when I explained about logical and physical security, right? Hope you remember. I told you to note some of the most important points, right? Okay. Encryption can be used, A, to protect the business information from unauthorized access, B, to effectively use the bandwidth of the internet connection, C, to protect the secrecy of the information stored in the databases, right? Which of the above are correct? Can anyone answer? Anyone can answer, right? So those who know the answer, answer me. What is the answer? Answer it, right? Unmute your microphone and answer. It must be a discussion, so answer that question. I explained about encryption, right? Maybe in the class before the last one, right? I explained about encryption. So tell me what is it? What is the correct answer? Aswini? Aswini?
Second one, A and C.
A and C. Aditya?
A and B.
A and B, first answer. Okay, look. So what is encryption? Encryption is a technology where the data are saved in unreadable format, right? It's a mathematical related technology which converts the data into a scrambled manner, which means unreadable format. So look at the first one. To protect the business information from unauthorized access, that is okay, because if you are running a business, you may have some vital information. All of them are in your database or maybe in your computer. So if someone accesses your computer, you know, those vital secret informations can be stolen. Even though you have a firewall or other security measures, you know, this is possible. But when you have your data in unreadable manner, even they are stolen, you know, the other people cannot read it, right? So that is okay. Encryptions can be, right? For first one, encryption can be used to effectively use the bandwidth of the internet. So bandwidth of the internet, which means your maybe your speed or internet access, power. So here the bandwidth of the internet never related to encryption. So here to effectively use the bandwidth, right? Bandwidth is a technical term related to internet speed. So if the bandwidth is increased, you know, you have a powerful internet. So it never be related to encryption, right? So B cannot be, right? Nowhere near to encryption. So second one is wrong. to protect the secrecy of the information stored in the databases. Yes, that is so. Maybe the A and C are almost closer, but in the A they describe about business transaction or business something. But here in the second one, in the third one they describe in general, right? Any database can be protected using encryption. You may have secret information there, so they can be protected. So the answer is A and C, right? A and C, right? Next question. Digital divide separates hardware into two categories, analog and digital. Software into two categories, systems and applications. Firmware into two categories, ROM and CMOS RAM. People into two categories, computer literate and computer illiterate. What's the answer? Banuja, what is the answer?
Fourth one.
Fourth one. Right, so it's too easy. I'm showing some of the past paper questions randomly, right? Maybe from next week, I try to conduct a past paper class, right? During these two sessions, one class should be conducted for your lessons, right? Regular lessons. The other class should be for doing past papers, right? So in the past paper classes, I definitely discuss all the questions, but here I'm taking some of the questions from past paper in order to show you that the questions are too simple and they are taken in our ICT and society area, right? So this is too simple. Look here, digital divide. Digital divide is the term which is used to describe the gap or space between two group of people, the people who have the access to modern ICT and the people who don't have the access to modern ICT. You cannot say they're literate or illiterate. That may not be the right term to define the digital divide. But when it comes to MCQ, you have to pick the most appropriate answer. So among these four answers, the fourth one is most appropriate. But if you ask to write the definition for digital divide in exam, don't write like the gap between computer literate and computer illiterate or something. That may not be an appropriate answer. They use my wordings, right? The gap between the people who have the access to ICT and who don't have the access to ICT. Okay, so these are the two questions which I have taken. Okay, that's enough. Right, so let's start the today's lesson. We stopped at ergonomics at the last class, right? Hope you remember. This is where I stopped. Look here. Right. So ergonomics. So we are in the health issues, right? So health issues. The development of ICT creates so many issues. One of the major issues is health-related issues, right? Almost all the people are pushed into diseases, right? You all are, suffering from various illnesses. It may be because of ICT, right? So before we start discussing those health issues, we have to understand the word ergonomics. I clearly explained on the other day. Let's revise it again. So ergonomics tells us that a worker cannot be forced to work, right? So rather than forcing someone to work, create the environment for that person and let him or let her to work, right? That is ergonomics. So look here, a job must be created to comfort of the worker, and worker must not be forced to the work. What happens if the worker is forced? Definitely he or she will be suffered from various illnesses, right? Right? Almost all the parts of your body can be affected. Okay, right. So let's take the health issues. Have a look at these pictures. So look at they are writings on a table or somewhere, right? But look here, this is not the right position. Look at the first one. This man is not in the right position because the table is too high. When the table is too high, you know, you have to, I mean, take your hands up and right. Look here, look at these hands. It's, imagine, look at your sitting position. Later we will discuss about your sitting position and other, everything. But you can imagine, look here, this is not right. Right, so this highlighted area can be affected. You may feel pain on your shoulders, maybe neck. So this is not right. So if some institution assume that that kind of a table is kept in a bank for customers, for filling the slips or something. If the bank keeps such table in a bank, this is not good, because all the customers who use the bank will be affected. Not in short term, right, but definitely in long term. Look here, this is also wrong. So here also the table is there, but it's too small to write, too short. So now look here, this person has to bend and write. So definitely these two highlighted area is affected. Maybe his back and also the neck part or shoulder part can be affected. You can imagine. So that's the point which I made earlier. You cannot force someone to work. Here in these two pictures, first two pictures, you are forcing these people to work. You are forcing these customers to fill the slip. This is not right. Rather than doing such thing, create that environment for the customer. Keep a suitable table in a suitable height and allow them to use. Look here, look at the last one. This is right. Right? It is, the table is in a perfect position. Right? Look here. So now he never feels any uncomfortableness. Right? Okay. So later we will discuss everything. But the reason for showing these pictures at this moment is to understand the term ergonomics, right? So if the working environment is perfect, you never feel such uncomfortable, things. Okay, so this is I hope that this gives some idea, right? Okay, look there. Right. So look here, as we discussed, ICT affects the health, right? In fact, the development of ICT affects the health. So there are so many health issues. We feel uncomfortableness in different areas of our body, right? So rather than taking our health issues randomly, we categorize them, right? We categorize those issues here. So look here, look at the first one. Musculoskeletal problems. I will explain, right? Musculoskeletal problems. This is a type of injury or type of pain occurred or experienced. It is because of ICT. I will explain. Then there is another one called RSI, repetitive stress injury, right? Repetitive stress injury. I will explain. This may be the common health issues experienced by the users. I will explain. Then there is another one called CTS. This is carpal tunnel syndrome, right? Carpal tunnel syndrome, CTS. Then there is another one, computer vision syndrome. So as the term vision implies, it is related to our eyes. I will explain. Then some most common issues like headache, and also you can feel some sort of stress, right? I will explain. Okay, so these are some of the categories in which people are affected in terms of health, right? So let's take them one by one. Listen to me, I will ask questions while I'm teaching, right? Look. Right, so look at the first one, musculoskeletal problem. It's too simple. Look at the term, that the term itself has the meaning, right? Musculoskeletal, which means muscles plus skeleton, right? So these are the injuries, or these are the pains experienced in muscles plus bones, right? So if you don't use the computer in a correct manner, you may feel some pain in bones as well as in muscles, right? So you have some pain or muscles cramp or some sort of other injuries experienced in both muscles and bones. These are related to, or these are called musculoskeletal problems. It may be experienced in any part of your body. It may be you in your arm or maybe leg or maybe neck, any part of the body, but not these injuries or these pains are related to bones and muscles, right? So such things are called musculoskeletal. Look at the definition or description which I have given. The pain in muscles and bones in different part of the human body. It can be experienced in any part of your body, right? The main reason for this is the wrong posture taken with the use of the computer. So the main reason for having this musculoskeletal problem is using computer in incorrect manner, incorrect posture. So there is a systematic, approach to be taken for a computer user. If you are using a computer, you need to follow so many things. You should understand the method of sitting. You should know how to keep the mouse, or you should know how to use the keyboard. You should understand the position of your monitor. So if you are not following these safety things, if you are not following these positions, right, definitely you will be affected by musculoskeletal. Have you understood? This is enough. There is no need to, describe this further because this is too small, right? So look at this picture. This picture may give an idea. This person is suffering from backbone injury or backbone pain. It is because of the wrong posture. So when you are sitting at a chair, computer chair, there should be so many things followed. I will explain. So assume you are using a chair, computer chair, without the backrest, right? Backrest means the place where you are leaning on the chair, the back side, right? Back side of the chair, that is called backrest. Assume you don't have the backrest in your chair. So what happens now? You cannot lean on. Now see, I'm sitting comfortably and explaining. I cannot feel any pain, right? So it is because of the leaning. So I'm leaning on the chair. Even if you are sitting on your chair, you should lean on. But if you are using a stool or some other chairs without backrest, definitely you will feel pain in the backbone. This is one of the musculoskeletal problem. Okay, right. So enough. If we want, we can take some other examples later. Okay, right. So this is musculoskeletal. What is it? Remember the name muscles, right? Muscular means muscles, skeletal bones. So bones, muscles problems. Okay, right. Let's take the second health issue. RSI. I told you that this is the most commonly experienced issue, right? RSI, repetitive stress injury, RSI. So mostly RSI affects almost all the computer users, right? Again, the reason is the wrong posture of the computer, the wrong sitting position, maybe the wrong computer keyboard position. So keeping the mouse in a wrong manner. So all these things are related to RSI. The same reason is applicable for that even the musculoskeletal, right? They are also same reason, right? Here, what is RSI? The injuries, right? The injuries or pains that you experience from the shoulder, from here, this part, from shoulder to this area. Okay, the problems that you face from your shoulder, from here to maybe up to the wrist, right? Up to the wrist, from shoulder, maybe the maybe the elbow, every part, maybe wrist, from the pain extending from the shoulders to fingers. This is RSA. So you may feel pain there, you may feel some numbness there. So everything is the symptom of RSA, right? So this is the most common issue, because whenever you use mouse or whenever you use keyboard, you must follow some of the safety measures, or you must know how to use them. So if you don't obey them, definitely this part of your body can be affected. This is RSA. Look at them. Repetitive stress injury is the pain extending from the shoulder to fingers of the body, right? So it affects the whole area. There may be some pains experienced. This is RSA. The affected areas can be show swelling and hardness, right? So there may be some numbness, swelling, maybe it may be very hard. So those affected areas can be like that. Okay. The main reason for this is the wrong posture, right? So here also you have to, you have to experience them when you are not obeying the methods, right? So you should know. Later we will discuss about how to use such devices like monitor, keyboard and mouse and other things. So if you don't use them properly, definitely you will have to face RSI, right? Repetitive stress injury, right? Even so, see, even when you purchase a keyboard or some other devices, particularly keyboard. So if you purchase a keyboard, you can see a wording or phrase on the box, right? Keyboard box, saying that no RSI. The keyboard manufacturers paste a label on the outer box of the keyboard like no RSI, no repetitive stress injury. So what does it mean? How can the manufacturer say that it avoids RSI or it reduces the RSI? Because RSI means the pains experienced from shoulder to fingers. We experience such issues because of the wrong posture. So my question is, how can they promise that their keyboard is no RSI or no related to RSI? It is because of this. See, they are trying to tell us that their keyboards are too soft to type, too simple to type. So when, see, you have the experiences in typing. So for some keyboards, you have to type harder. So then only the things will be displayed on the screen. So you have to press the keys with some sort of force. But for some keyboards, whenever you just put a small touch, right? So letters are visible on the screen. Letters are shown on the screen. So those keyboard manufacturers are trying to give such promise. So they are trying to say that their keyboards are too easier to use. So they are telling that they are not to be harder, hit, right? So that is the reason for showing RSI, because as student we should know these common things, right? Whenever you purchase a mouse or keyboard, you can see such labels. So when we see the labels, we should understand the meaning, right? So this is the meaning. So they are trying to promise us that their products are too easy to use. They are too friendly for the users, right? Okay. So you can see the, red color areas. So you can, feel the pain there. Maybe this part there, right? Shoulders, everything can have pains. Okay. So this is RSI, repetitive stress injury. So these injuries are again and again experienced. That's why it is called repetitive. When you are using computer, mouse, keyboard again and again, you feel such pains again and again, right? So that is the meaning of repetitive. You are repeatedly using these devices. Okay, right. Right. So we talked about musculoskeletal issues, and now we talked about repetitive stress injury. So let's take the CTS, carpal tunnel syndrome, CTS. This is another issue, right? So we know, see, look here, this is related to your wrist and palm. So take a look at this picture. See, there is a main nerve. We call that as median nerve. There is a median nerve passing through the wrist, right? Passing through the wrist. It carries the blood to the palm, the entire palm. Okay. So there is a there is a nerve coming from coming through the hand, and it passes through the wrist for blood circulation, right? But what happens when this part of your wrist is pressed, right? When it is pressed, that nerve can be affected. So in fact, this is actually not important for ICT student, but if you can try to remember, see in this part of the palm or wrist, there is a small part called carpal tunnel. There may be a small tunnel called, you know the term, you know what the term tunnel is, right? So there is a small tunnel called carpal tunnel. Through the carpal tunnel, maybe this part, this area, have a look at that as a picture, right? Through that carpal tunnel, that median nerve is passing. So what happens when the carpal tunnel is pressed? What happens when it is pressed? That nerve, that median nerve also be pressed. Remember, that is the nerve which is taking the blood for the palm. So when it is pressed, the blood circulation can be stopped, right? Can be affected. So when blood circulation is affected, you know, this part of the palm can be affected. You can see the blue or ash color of the area. This is the part which is affected when the blood circulation is stopped, right? So since it is related to that carpal tunnel, it is called carpal tunnel syndrome, right? Carpal tunnel is a small tunnel in your wrist. The main median nerve is passed through the tunnel. When the tunnel is pressed, assume that you are typing on a keyboard. Sometimes you may press, listen to me, look here. So when you type, you know this part of your palm sometimes can be pressed on the table. If you don't follow the safety measures, if you don't know how to keep the keyboard correctly, definitely this part of your palm or maybe wrist is pressed on the table. So what happens when it is pressed? Inside part of this area, the carpal tunnel is there. Inside of the carpal tunnel, that median nerve is pressed. So when it is pressed, carpal tunnel is pressed. At the same time, the median nerve is pressed. When the median nerve is pressed, the blood circulation is affected, because that is the nerve, that is the main nerve which carries the blood for your palm, right? So now definitely this part of your palm is affected. You can feel some pain there, right? You can feel some swelling there, right? Numbness. All these things can be affected. Sometimes it's too severe. If you don't get the treatment at the beginning, you can be affected severely. So this, even though this is not the most common, but this may be dangerous, right? So remember, this is the area. Okay. So now read and understand my description. Carpal tunnel syndrome causes pain and numbness in the hands from pressure on the median nerve in the wrist, right? That is the nerve carrying the blood. Incorrect use of the keyboard and the mouse or placing them in the correct positions are the reasons of CTS. Both the incorrect usage and incorrect position, both can be reason. See, sometimes keyboard in the right position, but you don't use them correctly. That is also a reason for this problem. Sometimes the keyboard is in the wrong position. That is also reason, right? So remember, this is related to science. So you might have learned them in your science and technology subject. So this is our human anatomy, right? So see, there is a nerve for your blood circulation. Okay, right. So this may be the area, right? I'm talking about this is the tunnel. You can see the tunnel clearly, carpal tunnel. So through the carpal tunnel, you can see the median nerve, right? This is the median nerve. The median nerve is taking the blood. Okay, there may be many nerve, but that may be the median nerve. So there may be affection. Okay, right. Right. So it is CTS. So CTS affects your palm, right? This part of your hand, right? Then CVS. So as the name implies, CVS is related to eyes, right? You can see computer vision syndrome. So it is related to eyes. So you can easily be affected when you don't keep the monitor in a correct position, or when you don't use the correct, steps when you are using monitor. Both can be the reasons, right? So you should understand how the monitor is used, but not now. Later I will explain about how to use the monitor, right? So CVS is a condition resulting from focusing the eyes on a computer or other devices for a longer period of time. So if you are using your monitor or your mobile phone or some other devices, television for a longer period of time, longer period means continuously watching for 6 hours or 7 hours, right? If you are using for 1 hour or 2 hour or 3 hour, it may not be a problem, right? But if you are using for longer period, right? So definitely you have to be careful because you can be affected. Okay, so CVS is a condition resulting from focusing the eyes on a computer or other display for a longer period of time, mostly 6 to 7 hours. Even now, see, you are listening or you are watching this class. So if you are watching for too long, so assume that you have classes, continuous classes for 10 hours or 6 hours or maybe 8 hours. So this is too hard for your eyes. You have to take some precautions. Later we will discuss about how to avoid them, right? So if you see, sometimes unavoidably you have to be there for 7 hours, 8 hours. You know, there are jobs, there are professions where people use computer screens for hours, 10 hours. You cannot avoid that because it is your job, but you must be safe. So there may be some precautions. Later I will take them, right? So this is the reason why we are affected to CVS. Okay, right? So look here. In the second point, I have shown some of the symptoms of CVS. Dry eyes, right? Your eyes may, generally your eyes are not dry, but when you are watching the computer screen for a longer period, or when you're affected by CVS, your eyes become dry. That may be one symptom. Double vision, right? So you can, you know that idea, right? So things will be in double. So you are unable to focus on the things. Whenever you see things, they become as double, or they seem to be double, right? That is because of CVS. Redness in the eye, right? Eyes become red. That may be the symptoms of CVS. Tearing, right? Tears in the eye, right? So that may be. Blurred vision. You are unable to see the things clearly, even though those things are very closer, right? Very sharp. You are unable to see them clearly. They are blurred, right? So it may be the symptoms of CVS. And headache. You know, headache is always related to eyes. Whenever we have some eye problem, so you feel a headache. So that is also symptoms. Okay, so remember, this can be asked in exams. So they may ask the symptoms of CVS. These are the most common symptoms experienced by CVS, right? Double vision, blurred vision, redness in the eye, right? Tears in the eye, maybe pain in the eye, headache, everything is okay, right? So you can see some of the symptoms are shown in the picture. So it is for just, checking, right? Okay. So this is CVS, right? So we discussed even stress can be, right? Earlier I have shown you the stress, right? Stress there, but now I don't want to show them in the presentation, but you can understand the stress. So stress also one of the related to, one of the problem related to health. So when you are in a computer for a longer period without having meals, without having any conversation with the others, because sometimes you are very busy in the computer with your work, so you have to forget your meals, you have to forget the others, right? You don't know the others who are around you, so you are always in the work, right? You are busy in the work, so sometimes you will be affected or you will feel stress, right? So that may be because of the ICT development, because if ICT is not developed, we are not engaged in jobs such as this one, right? So stress is one of them. Okay, right. Let's see how to avoid them. So we have to understand this, right? This is important, right? So here also I don't want to discuss them randomly, right? I don't want to use mention the points randomly, like points about monitor, points about sitting position or other thing. So let's take them as categories, then only you can easily remember. So we should know how to use the monitor, because monitor is one of the reasons for health issue, because especially for eyes, not only for CVS, it may be for other issues also, but CVS is too related to monitor. So we should understand, or we should know how the monitor is handled. So let's discuss. And also we already talked about keyboard, right? So we should understand the keyboard usage or keyboard position. So I will take that as next category. So like I said earlier, we don't take them as mixture, we take them as categories. Then the other one is the sitting position, right? The seating position or sitting position of the computer user. So we should know how to sit on a chair, particularly in a computer chair, right? So we should take those methods. And even mouse, right? Mouse is too small device, but there also we have to follow some safety measures, right? Okay, so let's take them one by one. So starting from monitor, right? So if it is monitor, at least you should consider two important points. I put three, but the first two are very important. The first one, the position of the monitor, right? Remember, you must keep your monitor little below, maybe straight, but the best option is little below to the eye levels. You are sitting at a chair, so keep your monitor little below to your eye level. Maybe straight to the eye level also okay, but keep it straight or little below. If you are keeping the monitor straight to eye or little below, you are safe. But imagine your monitor is higher than your eye level. It is above your eye level. So what happens if the monitor is above your eye level? See, you have to see up. You have to look up and see the things. Even though you don't need to take the big angle. Just if you take your neck little towards up, definitely this part, maybe neck, maybe shoulder pain can be experienced. You can imagine now also you are sitting somewhere, right? Imagine your sitting position. If you are not looking directly straightly, right, definitely you will be affected. Now think about the monitor which is below to your eye level. Assume your monitor is below to your eye level. Now you have to bend your neck and see the things. So when you are bending your neck for long period, right, definitely some uncomfortable things will be experienced. You may face some problems in the neck and some shoulders and other things. So always keep your monitor straight to your eye level or little below to your eye level. That may be the best practice. Okay, that is first. Right, one thing, but later I will explain. So when we talking about keeping the monitor straight to eye level, we should understand that, you know, a computer chair can be used by elder people, maybe children, anyone can use it. But whoever sits at a chair, make sure that monitor should be straight. It may be a small child, it may be an adult. It may be a shorter girl or shorter boy, maybe a very tall person. So now imagine your computer table height cannot be adjusted. We don't have any tables which height is adjusted. They have the standard height. Every table manufacturer manufactures the table in a standard height. But it is the chair which has to be adjusted. So definitely the computer chair must have height adjustable facility. I will explain that feature related to sitting position, right? If you are using a normal chair, right, maybe a wooden chair or plastic chair or some other chair, you cannot keep your monitor to eye level. If you are in a standard height, sometimes fortunately it suits, but definitely it is not good for shorter people and taller people. What happened? Imagine you are too big, too tall, right? Now you are sitting at normal chair. Now think about your eye level. It is above your monitor. You cannot bend even see the things. Now assume that you are too short. There are shorter people, right? You are too short. Now your monitor is above, right? You are in the below part. Now you have to see up and see the monitor. That is not good. So it is the chair which has to be adjusted, right? Later we will discuss. Okay, that is the first reason, or first thing, right? Second one, the distance. That is also important. Keep the distance between your monitor and eye levels as 45 centimeter to 70, right? 70 centimeter, 45 centimeter to 70 centimeter. This is the distance which has to be maintained between the eyes and the monitor. If it is in inch, around 18 to 28 inch, right? The things can be changed according to some books or websites or some other things. But around maybe approximately 18, sometimes people say 16 to 28, right? Maybe 16 to 30, but this is an approximate value. Even the centimeter also approximate value, but I have taken that centimeter which is given in your book. But definitely around 45, right? Maybe 46 or 47, maybe 70, 75, it's okay, right? But since these things are given in your book, better stick with this 45 to 70 centimeter, that is in centimeter. If it is inch, 18 inch to 28 inch, right? That must be the distance between your monitor and the eyes. What happens if you are if the distance is shorter than this one, which means you are very closer to your monitor, right? Definitely your eyes are affected. Right, if you are too closer to your monitor, right, like if you keep 30 centimeter or if you keep 10 centimeter, it's 10 inch, you are too closer, definitely you will be affected, your eyes will be affected. What happens if your distance is too long, right, exceeds 70 centimeter, like 80 centimeter or 100 centimeter, or they are 40 inch or something, right? If the distance is too long, you are unable to see the things. You have to strain and see the things. It is not good. So that 45 to 70 is a reasonable distance. If you maintain that distance, you know, things are not too closer, things are not too longer, so it will be good for your eyes. Okay, that's correct. Right. These are the two important points related to monitor, but maybe the third one also okay. You have to adjust the monitor according to the environment, darkness or lightness. See, if the environment is too dark, right? Assume now the environment is too dark because it's a broad daylight time, right? So when you are in a broad daylight time, environment is too bright. So now what about your screen brightness? Definitely the screen brightness is increased because too brightness outside, we have outside brightness there. So when you have the environment in a higher brightness, definitely your display, maybe mobile phone, maybe monitor, right? Definitely the brightness is increased. But what happens? See, assume that you are doing something in a computer for a longer period. Maybe continuously you are working from noon. You are working, right? You started to work at noon. Now 7 hours, 8 hours passed. Now you know maybe it is too dark now, right? And the environment is too dark. Even in the evening, the environment is too dark. So when the environment is too dark, you cannot keep your display in high brightness condition. What happens if you keep the brightness as high? Definitely your eyes are affected. All the brightness should come to your eyes, right? But now I cannot feel like that because the environment is too bright. So have you understood? From time to time, you have to adjust the brightness. You know, in mobile phones nowadays, the mobile phones have that automatically adjustable facility. Brightness is automatically adjusted. So when you are out, so that sensor immediately identifies the brightness, and automatically your mobile phone has high brightness when you're outside in a broad daylight. But when you back home, now if you are inside of home, you know the brightness is little lower, so automatically the mobile phone changes or adjusts its brightness. So in mobile phone, we have such facility. Even in computer, you have to do that. Okay. So this is important. These are the three things related to monitor. What is it? First one, keep your monitor little below to eye level or straight to eye level. Second one, the distance between eyes and the monitor should be in between 45 centimeter, from 45 centimeter to 70, or 18 inch to 28 inch. The last one, the brightness of the monitor or mobile phone should be adjusted according to the environment. Okay, right. So hope you understood these things. So we talked about monitor. So try following these things even in your practical life. You learn them for your studies, for your examination, but at the same time, try following some of them, because you can be affected if you don't follow them. You know, there are people who are affected by these things, especially eyes. Computer is not the main reason, right? There may be some other reasons, but this is of course one of the reasons, right? Okay. So this is the one which I talk about. Look at this computer user. So she has to maintain. Look at the straightness. So here the monitor is straight to eye level, maybe little below also okay. And also the distance should be 45 centimeter, right? This is 45 centimeter to 70 centimeter. From here, right? From here to here is 70 centimeter. Okay, right. So we will discuss the other parts, other things like seating position and everything later. Okay, right. Now take the other one. So let's discuss about keyboard position or keyboard posture, Right, look. So when typing, listen to me carefully, right? When typing, you have to keep your keyboard maybe straight to your elbow, right? You know the elbow, right? This part of the lower part of the arm is called elbow, right? So try to keep your keyboard straight to elbow, right? Straight to elbow, maybe little below to elbow also okay, right? So here I put a little below to elbow, but maybe straight to elbow also okay. If you keep in that position, definitely you will feel comfortableness. I tell you, I tell you the reason, right? Okay, better I take the second one, and after taking the second point, we can take both of them again, right? So when typing, you cannot bend your wrist. That is important, right? Whenever you type on a keyboard, make sure your wrist is straight. It is stretched, right? You cannot bend your wrist when typing, because when it is bent, there may be issues, right? Like I mentioned earlier, maybe carpal tunnel syndrome can be there, maybe some pains occurred or experienced in wrist. So you have to keep your wrist as straight, right? So imagine, right? Listen, imagine you have to keep your wrist as straight. So if you want to keep your wrist as straight, definitely you have to keep your keyboard straight to elbow. Then only your wrist cannot be bent. Have you understood my point? I in the first point I told you to keep your keyboard straight to elbow. In the second point, I'm trying to tell you that the wrist cannot be bent, right? So imagine, assume you are the computer user, you are at a chair. So now you can't bend your wrist. The keyboard is on the table. So if you don't want to bend your wrist, definitely you have to keep your you have to keep your keyboard straight to elbow. If that happens, definitely the wrist is not bent. Look at this. Look at the first picture. Look at the second picture. This is wrong because she is bending the wrist, right? But here, this is also not right because she is bending in the opposite one. There, in the first one, she is bending like this, right? In the second one, sorry, third picture, she is bending another direction, opposite direction. Both are not correct. Look at them. This wrist must be straight. If you want to keep your wrist as straight, make sure your keyboard is parallel to elbow, right? So definitely here also, which comes into action. This chair is in the action. Imagine if you don't have the height adjustable chair, can you keep that measurement? Never. If you are sitting on a normal chair, how can you keep your keyboard parallel to elbow? That is impossible. But if you are sitting at a computer chair which has height adjustable facility, then you can adjust. Because as I mentioned earlier, keyboard must be placed on the table. You cannot adjust the height of the table. That keyboard is in a standard position. Try adjusting the height of the chair and keep your elbow straight to keyboard, right? So that is important. Then type softly. You have to type softly. Don't hit the keys with hard. So you can see some people always hit the keys with so much of power. That is not, you cannot show you strength there, right, on the keyboard. So if you are typing harder, what happens? When you are typing harder, yes, keyboard can be damaged, but this is not the thing which we are discussing, right? Keyboard can be damaged or not, that is not an issue. But what happens when you are typing harder? Simply your fingers can be affected. You know, fingers sometimes very soft, so these parts can be affected. You can feel some swelling or numbness, or some other things can be there in the fingers. So try typing with soft actions, right? So it is always said that your typing should be a butterfly dance rather than thunder. So we always take a phrase like thunder versus butterfly dance, right? So you cannot be thunder because you know thunder is too hard. So you can't type like a thunder. Try typing like a butterfly dance. So when you are typing on a keyboard, your fingers seem to be a butterfly. You know, butterfly have a nice gentle movement, right? It moves slowly here and there. So similarly, your fingers, when you are typing on a keyboard, it seems that the butterflies are dancing on the top of keyboard, right? So it indirectly says that it is soft typing. Okay, so type softly, don't press harder, and it can be caused some problems, right? Okay, then don't stretch the fingers when typing. Here I told you to stretch the wrist, right? Your wrist must be stretched, must be straight, but don't stretch the fingers when typing. You all know that our fingers have the natural curve. You all have that natural, characteristic. So none of us keep our hands like this when we are doing some other tasks. While we are walking, we never keep our fingers like this. Or while I'm teaching to you, I never keep my fingers like this, because this is not the nature, right? In nature, we have a natural curve. Every human beings, right, have such ability. So keep the nature as it is. Keep the bending finger as they are. Don't stretch against to the nature, because nature gives us as this one. So try keep it. So don't stretch the fingers when typing. When you stretch the fingers, you can be affected. These joints, right? Joints in the fingers can experience some sort of pain and aches and some numbness, right? So keep your fingers as bent and type that. Okay, that is important. You can see this picture. Look here. This computer user is typing something with bending or bent fingers. Even look at this. This user also does the same thing. Have you understood? So these are some of the things related to keyboard. So what are the things to be considered about keyboard? The most important thing, the position of the keyboard. Remember, it is parallel to elbow or little below to elbow. That's okay, right? Second one, you cannot bend your wrist when typing. Bend should be straight. Third one, type softly. Don't press hardly, right? Last one, don't stretch the fingers when typing. Okay, keep your fingers as they are, right? They have a natural curve, so don't take any other, actions against the nature. Keep the nature, right? So these are the things related to mouse. Sorry, keyboard, not keyboard. Later I will take the mouse. This is keyboard. Okay. So now we learned, or we know how to handle the monitor and also how to handle the keyboard. So there may be some other important things to come, right? Especially about sitting position, maybe mouse, right? So any questions, any doubts in this lesson? If you have any questions, ask me. You can ask. Does anyone want to clarify anything? If you have any questions, please better ask me, right? Use your microphone to ask. I cannot go through and read the questions. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. And also try to study everything, right? I have already sent the soft copy of the previous classes, lessons of the previous classes. Try studying. Today I didn't ask much questions because there may not be any things to be asked today, right? Because we started an important area. So now only we discuss some of the things. So make sure that you got the things. Maybe in the next class, there may be some questions asked. So since you don't have any questions, we can wind up today and let's meet with another class, right? So thank you.